Hey, hi everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new, I hope if you like what you see, you'll give me a thumbs up, maybe comment. And if you're not new, welcome back. Love to see you guys that come back all the time. So anyway, today it's Sunday, like I said, and I'm not gonna do it right now, but I'm just gonna show you what I'm gonna use doing a chicken pot pie. So obviously here, Kirkland, I've got a whole chicken that I had put in the freezer. This one wasn't in the freezer, I'm sorry, this one was in the fridge, and there's another one in the freezer. So I'll start with that, and I'll just pick off some of the meat, like the one part that I want to use for the inside. And so then I'll add some cream of celery to a bowl with chicken, a little bit more of chicken taste by putting a spoonful or so of this in, and then some yellow onion. This is just dehydrated, some of the last that I have. Some minced garlic for taste. And then in vegetables, I plan to use frozen peas and carrots. Mix that together with drained diced potatoes and salt and pepper. I'm using the Pillsbury pie crust frozen dough. So I'll put down the bottom, put in all the filling that I've mixed in a bowl, and put the other crust on the top. I brush it with a little bit of egg wash and bake it off, and really everything in it is done. I just want to warm it through and through, and I'll serve that for lunch today, and I'm serving it with a dessert. I'll show you that now. I just noticed that this is expired January 19th. That's okay though, because this has been in the freezer. I just took it out to thaw this morning. So in this bowl I've got the drained diced potatoes, and that is some dehydrated onion that I wanted to use up, and the frozen, kind of frostbit a little bit. That's okay, that's what you do with pot pie, because they were expired this month, I think. And it's almost the end of the month, and plus they're in the house freezer where the door opens and closes all the time, you know, so they can get a little frosty. So then I'm going to take another bowl and I'm going to mix the base together. And I'll show you that next. Oh, here's the bottom crust put down. I'm going to put a little splash of half and half, mainly because this is Best By date as yesterday. So then there's cream of celery, a pat of butter, some fresh crushed garlic, well, out of a jar, you know, and then some better than bouillon. Splash of that. Now, I also didn't tell you that I put salt and pepper in here. I put a generous amount of pepper and not very much salt, because both the soup and that bouillon sauce are going to have a lot of salt in it. So just going to stir this together, add the chicken. I put this, it had butter in it, and I didn't realize how, you know, because it's cold right now, the butter was a lot harder than I expected it to be, even though it was on the countertop. So I gave it about 33 seconds pulsing to try to soften the butter. I didn't want to melt it, but I didn't want it to be one hunk in one spot either, you know, in the pie, the pot pie. Okay, now I'll mix this into this, and lastly, I'll add the chicken. Yeah, so I mixed the chicken in with the wet ingredients, of course. I don't know what I was thinking when I said I'll put it in and then I'll add the chicken. So I'm going to mix this with the wet. The chicken is in. I used both thighs, both legs, and a little tiny bit of breast meat. I'm going to save the rest of the chicken so they can do sandwiches or whatever they want to do with it. It's in the refrigerator again. Last minute I added a sprinkle of dried parsley from the fridge. So there we go, chicken and the juices and the soup and all of that on top. Mix it together, and then I'll put it in here. Mixed well, everything's good to go. Got as much out of there as I could. I hate to leave them, you know, no man left behind here. It costs too much. And here we go. Now I'm going to put that top crust on it and give it some steam slits in the top. And then I'll wash it with egg wash. Oh, I should tell you, when I first started making these, and for a couple of years, well, more than a couple of years, a lot of years, I used to add Wondra flour in as a thickener, so that, you know, it wouldn't be runny. But I've noticed, like, if you don't, it really doesn't matter. It's thick enough. I don't know what happens, but it's okay. 1 egg. I accidentally put the yolk in there, and I usually only use the white part. because it was my assumption that if you put an egg wash on there, it would turn a scrambled egg. But then I saw somebody else do it, and it seemed okay, so I'm going to try it. Egg wash, a little onion powder, and a little bit of salt. Ready to go in the oven. The oven just beeped. I put it on 375. I'll bake it off for about 30 minutes. Check it. If it needs more, it needs more. Not if not. Okay, long picture again. I wasn't filming. 20-ounce can of pineapple. I put it in here to drain. You can also use cubed pineapple with the crushed, but at least 1 can of crushed. And I'm not making enough that I want to add more pineapple to it. So I'm going to go ahead and drain the mandarin oranges at the same time in the same, there. I'm not in a hurry, so we're just going to stir that around and let it drain kind of on its own. And this is the start of the orange fluff or dreamsicle salad or whatever your family calls it. Okay, first of all, I drained the mandarin oranges out of the can and the pineapple crushed. Now, like I said, depending on how much you make, you could add more or less. I used about 1/4 of a bag of mini marshmallows. They're already in here. I'm going to use the smaller size orange Jell-O. Looks like I got it for 75 cents. Remember when orange Jell-O, maybe you don't, orange Jell-O used to be 30 cents a box. You know, it used to be so cheap. Anyway, I've got this ready to go. I hope it's thawed. I took it out of the freezer. I'm sure it is. I was thinking, I'm forgetting something. What is it that I'm forgetting? Well, it was the cottage cheese. And you can't taste it. It just gives it some bodies. If you don't care for cottage cheese, you won't even know it's in there. Okay, so now that the marshmallows are in here, I'm going to go ahead and add the fruit and the Jell-O. And they are together. Now I'm going to stir this up a little bit to get the a little bit of the moisture on the marshmallows so that the Jell-O will stick to everything dry. I'm using 2% cottage cheese because that's what I had. If I was making this for a holiday meal for company and family, I'd use the full fat. How much cottage cheese? You might want to look at a recipe online. About that much cottage cheese. I'm going to stir that in next, and then I'm going to put in the Jell-O. Cottage cheese stirred in, dry Jell-O next. Spread that all around. Give it a quick stir because it'll start to harden. Solidify was more what I meant, not harden. But now I'm going to use every bit of this Cool Whip. Get it all, don't waste any. All done. I don't think you can even tell that it's orange anymore, but it really is a pretty light pastel-y orange. The only ingredient I didn't add that I usually do is pecans, like small chopped pecans. And I have them, but they're in the freezer. Forgot to get them out. And I just was like, I don't need them. So you could use walnuts, nothing, pecans, whatever you like. And then you want to cover this, stick it in the freezer. One last thing. Don't use low fat or no sugar Jell-O or Cool Whip because I had a bad experience with it. It didn't solidify. Oh yeah, for this size, I used the smaller Cool Whip. What is that? Serving suggestion. Where is the weight on this thing? Probably on the lid. Yes. 8 ounces. So I usually use a bigger one because, like I said, I usually make more. I'm going to cover it, stick it in the freezer at least an hour, at least, maybe 2. If it's made, it'll really only last about a day and a half before it starts getting more soupy again. You know, that pineapple has that bromelain in it, or bromelain, or however you say that, and it breaks down. It breaks down proteins. So it's best eaten the day of or the evening after, you know, but no more. Here we go. It's all done. I don't know how long I baked it, maybe 45 minutes altogether. I'm going to let this cool. It might be hot, you think? I'm probably going to take it 25 or 30 minutes to cool down. And the longer you let it cool down, the better this is going to come off when you try to put it on a plate. You know, it gets solidified better as the cooling happens. And I'll do a thumbnail of my plate so that you can see it when it's all plated. I'm in here folding laundry. I wanted to say to you, both, well, two things. First of all, I'm going to say goodbye because this will end the video, but most importantly, in the video, I'm folding laundry, that's why you see this mess here, while I watch football. The most important thing I need to make clear is I repeatedly said in that video, put it in the freezer, put it in the freezer. Don't put that Jell-O salad in the freezer, it goes in the refrigerator. I've never had it in the freezer, maybe it would be lovely, but I wouldn't put it in the freezer if it was me. That being said, I hope that you have a wonderful end to your Sunday. What is wrong with me? And dog had claimed that sock as her own and laid down on it because her boy is not home. Anyway, I'm going to go now. If you like what you saw, I hope that you'll consider subscribing. Give me a comment or a thumbs up. I always love those. Hey, you can see a shadow. Oh, it's a bunny. Bye, everybody. Go out and find some joy.